Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you're all doing okay. Now, today is a bit of a different video. We are going to be looking at the ore redistribution again, and we're going to be discussing in detail this big question that's going around New Eden at the minute. Should you refine or should you not refine your stockpiles? So I'm joined today by, we have Caleb, we have McLeod, and Bard, who is currently sorting his microphone. So, as the announcement was made, a lot of people have gone into panic mode. There was a hell of a lot of panic buying in Jita. Multiple hundreds of millions of units of minerals, which normally trade in a day, got traded in hours. And Jita was almost depleted of certain materials for a very short period of time. So we're going to be looking at the prices, the price hike, what it can mean for yourself, what it can mean for the small industry guy, and what it can mean for the big blocks as well. So, first of all, hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have some form of idea whether you want to refine your stockpile or whether you want to hold on to it for further phases. So, first of all, we'll go to Caleb. Caleb, you're a member of the Imperium?
No, but everyone thinks I am.
Yeah, you're on a lot of the talk shows and Imperium talk shows like Push the Talk and McLeod.
I'm on Imperium News, if that helps.
Yeah,
I'm
Imperium
definitely
News.
part of INN and have been since it's changed its name. But I'm not actually in the Imperium in game. I have stayed neutral pretty much for the past decade or more.
Oh wow, okay. So if you want to give us a little bit of insight of where you are in Eve, what this could potentially mean to yourself, and your views on the future on how the next few phases and how this phase especially is going to work out.
Well, I'm a market guy, and I used to do a lot of industry. I haven't mined for ages, and I haven't done industry for quite a while now. Mostly because the effort and the way that we used to be forced to scale made it a little bit outside of my way of playing. So I dedicated myself mostly to market stuff and to meta market stuff, which is out of client shenanigans. Most of this has been stagnant for a while, but exactly the changes like these are potentially going to bring me back into actually doing something in client in a meaningful way, because market stuff and meta market stuff and hell, even mining might actually be part of valid gameplay again.
So essentially, for a short period of time, you may have, as they say, won Eve by not logging in.
Well, I've always been logging in. I kind of feel like I'm obligated to, and you still need to log in to just manage your orders and check what's happening and look at the
Yeah.
market and all these things. You can't really. You could, of course, sit outside and use ESI for everything when you're looking at markets and just use the websites. But that's a little bit boring, and I do actually enjoy logging in and just spinning my ship while I'm looking at things.
Yeah, it's there's definitely. I mean, obviously the developers are making giving incentives to actually log in for these free rewards and so on and so forth. But we're not really here to talk about those rewards. So, what were your thoughts on the? Because I know I'm pretty sure INN did a story or an article on the patch itself, but also I think they did an article on the mineral hike in Jita. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that one actually. But what do you think about the ridiculous amount of panic buying that we saw in Jita?
Well, it's correction buying. It's not really that much panic. When there's a perceived shortage coming, that's pretty much what's expected. I didn't expect it to be this high, and I didn't expect to actually uh, be this occupied. So I kind of forgot to log in and fix my mineral orders. So I lost a lot of money.
Oh God, well, that's the worst thing when you're a trader. Oh,
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not playing big boys at the moment. Yeah. I'm still working my way back to wealth, so it's perfectly fine. I don't care.
Perfect. Right. So we will now go on to McLeod. Same again. If you want to give us a little backstory of who you are and where you stand on this and what you think of the whole situation.
Yeah, so I've been playing Eve since like I think I started around 2009. Been in and out of various different areas of space. I did definitely chase the whole kind of going to nullsec thing. I've been not really that much of an industrialist, or that much of a trader as such. I kind of did start doing a bit of trading, in Highsec, as I think most people do. I've had friends who did trading, did sort of like moving various different things to and from trade hubs, and had a friend who almost quit the game by when he got ganked with a bunch of Zydrine in his hauler at one point.
Ouch.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody has a friend who's had that happen to them in some way, shape, or form. So I'm sure a lot of people can feel, have had similar experiences. But I have kind of chased that whole nullsec kind of lifestyle. Been part of countless wars, countless wars for resources, for ego, all sorts of things. I've been part of the CFC. I've been against the CFC. I've saved NC moons from goons. I've killed NC moons with goons, and I've kind of like made a little, nice little home with, the graduates, who are actually like a really awesome bunch of guys. A lot of them are kind of like quite industrialized. They like flying big ships, and we're part of the initiative inside of the Imperium. That's where I'm. I'm from at this particular time.
So you've done.
As to
So you've done.
Sorry, go for it.
No, I was just going to say. So you've seen all sides of the conflicts, and you've seen all sides of how people would get. So not so much money together, but you've seen sort of like the logistic chain, and you've seen the industrialization of some of these alliances. Then.
Yes, I've seen and been part of, um, moving freighters full of materials, through multiple Titan bridges, from Titan Bridge to Titan Bridge to Titan Bridge to Titan Bridge, and then back again and all the way back and all that kind of stuff. Like, I've experienced that. I mean, I have I have a jump freighter. I have no less than 4 Rorquals. I know there's a lot of people who have a lot more
Yeah.
Rorquals than me, but like, I've built capital ships, including Rorquals and including carriers and dreads, that kind of thing. I wouldn't personally consider myself to be an industrialist. I just dabble in certain areas because I find it interesting, like sort of like, oh, I haven't tried that before, let's try that sort of thing.
So.
Um,
Oh, sorry. Go on. Go on. My bad.
no, I was gonna say, like, in terms of this patch, like, I understand people's trepidations. I understand people's kind of like concerns when they see lots of negative numbers, going on. People tend to get very fixated on negative numbers. The one thing which I've been wanting to say on a stream or on a show or something like that is that a lot of people, they, as I say, they fixate on negative numbers because that's always the thing that people hate to see, right?
Yeah.
But they skip on certain other numbers. Like, for example, when you see things like Hemorphite and Hebradite and Lowsec increased by 400%, that should be pretty cool. I think the most insane number.
I know where you're going with that.
I think the most insane number that I've seen on this resource distribution update article, right, was low security. It's the last one on low security in ore anomalies. And it says the quantity of all variations of crocite in all low sec ore anomalies will be increased by 9,900%.
Yeah, I saw that figure and I was like, and I had to double glance at that figure because I was like, one, that is such a random number to pull out, but two, That is an insane amount of crocite that's going to be in low sec now.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing. I think people get fixated by like numbers going down, right? And they seem to miss those. And I've never heard like on any of the shows so far talking about this, that particular number be mentioned. So I'd like to mention it now.
Yeah. Well, I did a video recently on the old distribution. I think it was the day after it came out, and I was absolutely shocked by that number, and I made it quite clear in the video that it was an insane number. But I think there's going to be a mini gold rush going on, sort of like a mining gold rush for people willing to risk. I don't think people risk hulks or skiffs or machinors, or maybe not even smaller guys like rorquals. I don't think those are going to be in low sec, but I think a couple coveters and a porpoise would make someone a lot of money in low sec. Those guys that are willing to risk it. Bard, have you managed to sort your microphone?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yes, fixed.
So,
Just in time.
Same questions to yourself. Where are you from, and Eve? What do you think of this? And how do you think it's going to affect the wider game?
I'll start with the first one and go in order, I guess. I started playing Eve back in 2014. It was come over from Dust, right? You know, it was going on at the time.
What a game that was.
Got dragged over. It was fun. Dragged me into the franchise wider. From there, I started playing, and I was in just, Highsec doing random stuff for 2 years. Before I went into Provi with a group called Warped Intentions. From there, we did what we did. We defended Provi. There was all the talk about the PL invasion for what was it? It was the stations turning to faction forces.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was back when those when people deployed those eggs, which were the old conquerable stations, which you had to flip. They were getting turned into the faction forces. So that's when PL decided, right, let's go to Provi, let's stamp on them and take all those stations.
Yes. So just shortly before that was supposed to happen, I think it then got delayed a bit. We as an alliance had an offer to go join Legacy. So off we moved down, took space in Catch. Over the next year, we moved into Amencia. I was FCing, doing stuff for them. But I wouldn't say it got stale, but you know how you just want a bit of change?
Yeah.
So I moved across to Commander Aze's Corps, Sub-Zero, and Bastion, and later folded into Imperium, Goonswarm proper. However, on the side, I've always kept an SP farm. I've done mining in Highsec for pretty much the entire time, just to make extra ISK on the side if stuff failed. Yeah. And that probably brings to present day, waiting for this war to really, really kick off, right? It's going, but
yeah,
there's that waiting for delve, right?
Oh god, yeah, exactly. Now, with this I'll open this question up to any of you guys. So with regards to big alliance wars, we'll start off with the big blocks, and we'll move to your how it affects your the lower end guys in Highsec that do the small time mining. So these big blocks, obviously we've had the car crash of the introduction of the Rorqual, which was introduced, and then it got hit with a nerf hammer, and then it got hit with a nerf hammer again and again and again. But in this time, that you were mining anywhere between 11 to 15,000 cubic meters of ore per 60 seconds on the excavators. So over that time period, these alliances have had time to build up a ridiculous amount of ships and stockpiles of minerals. So this probably won't affect them too much. I mean, it probably will affect the whole refine or not refine. But with regards to SRP, I think these wars is what CCP is counting on to bleed out a mass amount of resources on capital ships. So I think these wars are going to be good for this to help along with this patch, because Highsec will get drained of minerals because maybe some alliances will have to import the materials, or but anyone else think that this whole redistribution and shortage phase was brought on by the raw rules?
It definitely was.
Yeah, the rock rules are definitely a part. But to the second part of what you said there is Highsec bleeding of materials. I know me, Caleb, and McLeod have had this conversation off to the side the last few days, but looking at what's in Edencom systems, I don't think they're going to be short of materials.
No.
There is a lot of stuff there that is supposed to be exclusive to other areas of space, like low-sec, null-sec.
Yeah.
But it's sitting there in Highsec, in Edencom minor victories, or even now, after the changes like 2 days ago, major victories, just ready to be taken.
Yeah.
I'm literally sitting in a major victory right now.
Yeah, those systems. Those systems. I can't. One of the guys in my corp, he does a lot of mining. I've got some structures next door to one of those major victories, and he goes in, and the Rakavine sites. He'll go. Excuse me. Wow. He will go in with his Orca with a micro warp drive on, and his 2 Hulks. He will strip as much as that, and he can. And no word of a lie. He comes back to me a few hours later and he says, "I've mined just over 1 billion." I'm like, what?
Yeah. I've been doing Telassanite, and it didn't quite click to me what I'd done until I was running through the numbers with someone else yesterday evening, because the in-game estimated prices are not correct for them.
No.
You throw it into Appraisal, suddenly it goes from the estimated value of 9 million to 40 million. And I had 5 orcas full of this.
Oh my god.
And it was just like, what? I've done that in an hour.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Those are still getting hit by the redistribution. They're getting some of the minerals taken out and some reduced, but they are getting an increase to titanium, I've seen.
Telassanite is going up in value.
Double.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, obviously that's to go in line with Highsec being the exclusive supplier of tritanium. That combined with the
Noxium.
Well, yeah.
Mm.
But with these big alliances having these massive stockpiles, I mean, ridiculously sized stockpiles. I'd hate to even try and quantify the amount of minerals that, say, Test, Goons, or the Imperium, sorry, all say, I don't know too much about Brave, I don't know how big they are in that, but Fraternity as well. I'd hate to think about just how, I couldn't even think of a number of how much ore they've got stockpiled or minerals sat there. So I think the refine or don't refine would still affect the big blocks, because obviously some of those materials that they've mined are not going to yield what they want anymore.
No. I'm not going to advise anyone to do anything.
No. But would it
I
can
see groups refining. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Some groups will do, yeah. But what I was just going to say is, would it be worth holding on? Now, I'm looking at a piece of paper that I've written down, pros and cons of each. So, for me, refine a pro would be, you're going to get those minerals from that asteroid before patch. Afterwards, you're not.
It's really also a question of where do you have them, right? The location matters a lot. Do you want to use them locally, or do you not want to use them locally? Because you will potentially, depending on what volume it results in when you refine it, you can actually you'll end up locking down your minerals, right? They're not as easy to shift.
No.
So do you need it where you are now, or do you need it somewhere else? And the same with the whole stockpile you mentioned, right? I don't even know if the production pipeline is on scale to use it in Dell, right? So there's a lot of minerals that are on the hands and the hanger floors of people that might not want to use them for production, but just have them because they're invested in them and they kind of need to shift them. So this whole thing of how much capacity is on the floors, it's a big question. And I just say, if you can centralize to where you want to build, but it's not necessarily going to be that relevant if you're on a smaller scale, because uh, well, you can kind of build wherever and then just move the assets. It's only when you basically when you have to move very bulky stuff like hulls and shift things like that, that you really have a logistics problem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's also a side weird thing that noticed the other day. I think you were in the channel when a few of us were talking about it, Caleb, but I didn't realize post change. I was always assuming, if we want to move to Lacenite, we'll move to Lacenite. But it's actually, whilst you do lose some from obviously refining it, when you refine it, it takes up a quarter of the space it previously did, even as an ore. It's actually more effective to refine it where you are and move it than move it as the ore, which
that's a unique thing to that ore,
weird.
isn't it?
Yeah, like I haven't done the numbers on the other ores post change, but it's slowly, given what I've seen at least for the trig stuff, if they've done the same to the other ores, it's more efficient to just refine stuff and move it, not even compress it and move it.
Well, the Triglavian ores you can't compress.
Is that the first time? No, not Triglavian ores. I'm talking about normal ores there, right?
Yeah.
Because what they've done might even apply to them, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously no one knows how long this phase is going to go on for, because they've said that it'll be essentially an undetermined amount of time until they see some form of change, which I don't know what change they're looking for. I think they're insisting on the prices of minerals going up, and a point that I picked up on their post, on their patch notes, was quite interesting. They are looking to see miners die, mining ships die. Obviously, I was like, well, that's very nice of CCP, quite openly saying we want to see lots of mining ships dying. So, but there's going to be a lot of people braving the dangerous areas, like say low-sec for that Noxian, which went up I think it went up by 3 times its price beforehand. Null-sec empires might make a crap ton of money on selling, mining up morphite, Mecoxit, and refining it, because yes, there is a unfathomable amount of stockpile of that sort of stuff, because it's not used that often. It's only used really for T2 production. But that went up a bit in price, quite a bit actually. I saw that going for in the market with 50,000 a unit, and then it suddenly dropped after. That's ridiculous. I think someone must have just bought it all. But when it comes down to the small-time miner, your everyday miner in Highsec, say, where there's a small corp of 5 to 10 of them, they're all mining, they're all building stuff. If they've got a big lump of ore in their hangars, would it be worth... Well, I mean, obviously I can't ask you to tell people to refine or not refine, but the way I look at it is... You're not going to see a ridiculous price change for a while until some of these resources are starved out for this phase. Through this phase.
I don't know. Because I think part of the change isn't even starving resources out. It's making the difficulty of moving them. Like, just to go back to last night reference, right? It was 249 million ISKs worth of Talasnite in a jump freighter hold, and to get it from where we were to Jita was 160 million.
That's not even worth it, is it?
It was barely worth it, and it was like, what? Now refine it, you could fit 1 billion in there and move it, fine.
Interesting.
But as the ore is, you're very much looking at choking off supply by making it difficult to move, which, yes, isn't going to hurt the larger groups because the larger groups will have stockpiles. The smaller entities it becomes an issue for. But even then, like, they can, if they're Highsec and doing Highsec low-sec stuff, or Highsec maybe looking to go to null, they can find everything they want in Highsec right now, except Morphite.
Yeah. So
There's not really, it's not really as much of a hard limit as people might perceive it as being. But I do think that anything, maybe with the exception of the Triglavian ore, or those sites, the three types that Bart was talking about, I think everything else, the traditional ore, I think you should. I'm pretty sure that if you crunch the numbers, you should actually refine all of that before the patch hits. Also, because yes, it might actually lock you in system because you can't really easily move it, but it's not really that important because if off the top of my head, the things that you build after the patch, the increase in value that goes into the things that you build, again with the exception of ship hulls, the ISK per cubic meter is actually going up. That means that you're going to have a lot more benefit from moving finished product than you had in the past. So you can use your local minerals to build pretty much whatever will be in need.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I've
And as
noticed
long
that.
as you, sorry,
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say I've noticed that the value of items, as you say, Caleb, after this patch, because sometimes you look now, if you were to buy the minerals for say a hurricane, to build it and sell it, you're not making a profit. You're not making any form of profit because the facility costs and the minerals costs at the minute are normally more expensive than what you're going to get after taxes for the hurricane on the market. But I think what they're trying to do is drive the difference so it's the end product is what should be expensive, not just the minerals themselves.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that I'm pretty sure is going to happen because, well, people keep talking about how much supply there is of minerals for. Well, I would estimate there might there might be enough for at least maybe a year, maybe 18 months in total on hangar floors, and that's all fine. But the important thing is the fact that we've lived in a long era where everyone was producing below actual production cost if you were buying it off market. A lot of items were in that similar situation. Now, of course, even more so. It's going to take maybe a few months for the market guys to actually start trimming and correcting the market so there's not that much on the market below market cost or production cost. But what will most likely happen is that, of course, that will take out further items and put them on stockpiles. So the effect of that is going to mean that a lot of it's going to be held in hangar floors again. So you're in the same situation, right? But what will most likely happen then is that is when CCP will announce that they're also bringing in structure changes and industry changes, and then that's the one that might actually make people really frustrated, because it's not so much the infinite minerals that's been a problem. It's actually more the fact that you can infinitely pile things in structures or in builds because of infinite build slots, right? You have many of these infinities that CCP added that just didn't make any sense, and they added them everywhere. They added them on the scalability of your skill points. They added it on anomalies where you could just cycle these things forever. They added it on structures with build slots. It's just everything just became so easy to brute force, right? So now
Yeah.
they're putting many of the bottlenecks back, and that is going to mean that the pipeline will be balanced and there will be profitability in every single step of the way from uh, primary producer till end level product and destruction, and that's going to potentially bring health back into the game. But it's also going to mean that so much more difference will arise in where you are and what you're doing and what is available and how is that impacting your cost and all of these things. So this flat brute force thing is going away from space in all of Eve.
Which is obviously a very good thing. Now, what I suspect may happen, this is again just a theory I've had. I think this patch, this whole phase, and this whole system that they're going through, I think it has potential to. I remember back when I started in 2009, you could fly around different regions, and obviously you couldn't get Noxium in Caldari space. You couldn't get. So what you would find is products that needed quite a bit of Noxium would be very expensive in an area you can't get Noxium, and vice versa. But that sort of flatlined over the last year, however many years, because as you say, the abundance of minerals have just it hasn't become it became not profitable to really be a sole industry person, to be a manufacturer, to be a builder, have many production lines. But as McLeod, as you said before, may even consider going into a bit more on the mining scale, which I think a lot of people could end up doing. It could be a brand new, really profitable area of the game.
I think that's entirely possible, I think.
Because especially with just the scarcity of these minerals is going to be. But obviously we do have to remember that this is only phase 1. There's going to be, I'd imagine, 3 or 4 phases of this until they're done. And whatever happens over that time, we don't know. But this is phase 1. This was not received well by the community in any way, shape, or form.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there might only be actually 2 phases left.
2 phases.
The last one is going to be the carrot, where you're going to get the second part of the distribution stuff, and then you're going to get the dynamic stuff. We don't know exactly what that is going to be, but when that's done, there might be a little bit of a rebalance thing where they're tweaking some of the numbers to make sure that everything is in the right place. But I think that's going to be quite a lot later, and not so soon. I think we might actually get the carrot within the next 2 months. That's my guess, because it sounded like the carrot is actually coming very soon.
Well, we can definitely all hope for that anyway. So, just to wrap this up, then, I'm gonna go down the list and I'll ask. So, Bard, if you had, this is your personal opinion for your stockpile. If you had, hypothetically, a stockpile of 15 billion ISK worth of various minerals that you'd mined, would you refine or not refine before the patch?
I would say take a look at hobo leaks and look at what each ore is going into. Some ores definitely refine. Some are going to get more valuable post-change, right? If you've got a stockpile of dark ochre, don't refine it now. Look at what it's getting. It's worth holding on to.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you've got a stockpile of something that's really valuable now, like Nice, it might be worth refining now. Yeah. Because I don't know what that's getting. I'm going off the top of my head here and using it as an example, but that might become significantly less valuable.
Yeah.
Basically, maximize what you can make out of it.
Yeah. Caleb, same to you? Hypothetically,
well,
of course.
I'm almost going to say the same thing. Do the math, do your spreadsheets, figure it out, and then just make sure that you keep in mind there might be some volatility on the other side, and some of the mineral prices will actually change in a significant way. We don't know exactly how. I'd say they might all start dropping again, because they are most likely going to put things back in with what they talk about when they say the carrot. So currently the market is overheated. It's a hype cycle. It'll go back down. Maybe it will even crash and then recover. So do the math and just look at the actual yield and make your best guess. And it's also, again, it's a matter of how much do you actually have. And anyone that's got more than 50 billion worth of this stuff on the hangar floor, they're thinking about it longer term, so it's not really going to make that much of a difference to them.
Yeah, exactly. And McLeod, what about yourself?
I mean, I definitely want to sort of mirror what what Bard and Caleb have said. It is a mixed bag, especially when it comes to all the regular ores that people have got massive stockpiles of. If you're one of those people who have been smashing the hell out of the Triglavian ores, the Besnessine, the Rakavine, and the Telassanite, I would say hold off, because I think it's probably going to get a little bit better, potentially. Especially Telassanite. Like Telassanite's going to get like an increase in its Noxium kind of refine amount, which is going to be a bonus for sure, as well as Tritanium. The Dark Ochre kind of thing, yeah, for sure. Spodumane is kind of an interesting one because it is going to get an increase in Noxium, but it's going to get like a nerf like crazy
On the Tritanium, isn't it?
in terms of Pyrite and Tritanium. But yeah, like the raw numbers are there for you guys to sort of for you guys to spreadsheet. I'm sure like someone's probably going to create a spreadsheet that shows you exactly the breakdown of how these materials are kind of basically refined better or worse pre and post patch. But yeah, like I'll definitely do your homework in terms of checking it out. But like I would say as a general rule, if it's Triglavian ores, I would probably keep them in ore form at the moment. The other ones, I would kind of think I would definitely do my homework on. But the other thing that I would also recommend people think about is not only the what it refines to, but also like the size of the resulting materials that you get out of it, because that could prove to be quite a headache in terms of trying to move around.
Yeah.
Or it could be a benefit. Some of it does seem to be refining into a smaller M3 space than what the ore itself is.
Yeah, that is definitely a little twist that they've thrown in, which I don't know. Only time will tell. But I want to thank you guys for joining me. So thank you to Bard, Caleb, and McLeod for taking the time to come and chat with me about this. I hope all your viewers have taken something from this. I hope you've gained some form of knowledge about it. And obviously, that question, if you do want to come and chat about the refine or not refine, you're more than welcome to join my Discord, which will be linked below. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and of course I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.